It may have taken a while, but it seems as though the Pittsburgh Steelers have recreated the dynamic duo of Ryan Shazier and Vince Williams in Patrick Queen and Elandon Roberts. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the last few seasons, it seems as though they've been struggling at the inside linebacker position. But this offseason, they addressed it. Last offseason, they addressed it as well. They got Elandon Roberts, but this offseason, they went out and got Patrick Queen. And now they have a dynamic duo at that spot ready to take over. So, before I get more into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like the video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who would have thought when they got Elandon Roberts last season that he would end up being one of the core pieces to this defense for the season? Because when you think of Elandon Roberts, he came over and Cole Holcomb was kind of the big inside linebacker signing. And then there's questions if Elandon Roberts was even going to start. But Elandon Roberts did start. And now it seemed as though he was the missing piece to the inside linebacker position all along. Because he was very dynamic. When you look at his play, what did he do? Well, he was not afraid to come out and come down and lay the boom on any running back or anyone that got in his way. He was ready to make any tackle at any time and put his body on the line. And that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been missing at stuffing the run. And he was a dynamic person last season to come out and stop the run. That's why he was a difference maker. And that's why he's one piece of the new dynamic duo in Pittsburgh. Now, you look at the next person, Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen is a player who is a fast type of player. Someone who's athletic, sideline to sideline. He could cover tight ends. He could sometimes be out wide covering a wide receiver in the slot. Even though I don't believe inside linebackers should cover wide receivers, that's what he could do. And you look at Patrick Queen, and in this scenario, in this dynamic duo and recreation of Ryan Shazier and Vince Williams, Patrick Queen would be a Ryan Shazier type of player. And then Elandon Roberts would be a Vince Williams type of player. And that dynamic duo could really help Pittsburgh moving into the future and especially this season. So, before I get more into this play style of the inside linebacker and why they could be working so well together, let me just say this. The Pittsburgh Steelers under general manager Omar Khan, they deserve a lot of credit for not being afraid to kind of turn the Steelers' weaknesses on their roster into strengths. For example, whether it be overhauling the offensive line in only 2 off seasons or replacing the entire quarterback room in 1 off season, Omar Khan has done his due diligence to be better and get the organization in the right direction. For example, like I said, overhauled the offensive line. They got 2 new pickups this season alone, a new starting center and gonna be probably a new starting right tackle. And last offseason as well, they went out and signed how many players? Got Broderick Jones as well. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have redone their offense line. And now when you look at the rankings of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense line in terms of league, they're always on the bottom of the league. But now, even before the season starts, they're ranked in the top 10 as most projected to be one of the best offensive lines. And you look at the offensive quarterback room. You look at it, Kenny Pickett gone, Mitchell Trubisky gone, Mason Rudolph gone, overhauled. New people, Kyle Allen, 3rd quarterback, Justin Fields, 2nd quarterback, and Russell Wilson, 1st quarterback. So they overhauled multiple positions, just like they've overhauled the inside linebacker group as well. Just a few years ago, you look at this year's inside linebacker group, and you're just like, that's really a weakness of this team. But then it all started last offseason, because the Pittsburgh Steelers went out and got Cole Holcomb, who was actually pretty good before his injury. They went out and got Elandon Roberts. They got Kwon Alexander. And those guys helped the Pittsburgh Steelers see what could be of the future. Because each of those guys did their own thing. For example, Kwon Alexander, coverage. Elandon Roberts, making tackles. And then Cole Holcomb, kind of a mix of both. And then Kwon Alexander got injured. You look at his injury, and the Pittsburgh Steelers probably could bring him back, but they didn't. But they got someone similar of his skill set and something what he does in terms of an athletic inside linebacker in Patrick Queen. So they kind of replaced Kwon Alexander with Patrick Queen, someone who does a lot of the same things. And then they kept Elandon Roberts because he was great. And then they kept Cole Holcomb because he does a mixture of both. So let me get into the dynamic duo part, because the Steelers have Patrick Queen, who could do it all. He could cover, he could run defense, and just be an athletic player on the football field. Fast player, sideline to sideline, be able to get in the backfield fast, be able to chase the quarterback, be able to cover, and all of that. And having someone like that, sometimes they're not as good at coming up and making tackles. One of the things with him is, can he make tackles? Yes. But is that his strongest suit of his game? No. But that's why you get someone next to him who the biggest part of their game is making that tackle, getting tackles for loss, making sure that they don't break away from tackles, and just being a hard hitter. And that's what Elandon Roberts is. And what's Elandon Roberts' weakest part of his game? Coverage. Cover players, cover in space. Yes, he did it at times with the Steelers last season, but that's one of the weakest parts of his game. And you're getting someone in Patrick Queen who could cover that aspect of his game. So you're getting people who kind of hide each other's weaknesses. Patrick Queen hides the fact that Elandon Roberts can't cover, and Elandon Roberts kind of hides the fact that the biggest, not the biggest strength of Patrick Queen's game is tackling. So they cover each other's weaknesses while also bringing each other up. And that's why this can really be a dynamic duo. And you know what? While we're on this topic, you look at the Steelers' inside linebacker group as a whole, not even just these two, because you can't say these two players. But when you look at it as a whole, if Cole Holcomb is able to come back and be the same player that he was prior to his knee injury, then sure, the Pittsburgh Steelers have 3 players who have been really successful in this league, who could really make an impact. The big thing with Cole Holcomb before he even came to the Steelers was that he was really great in coverage, and that's what he showed on his previous teams. But then when he came to Pittsburgh, he was also really good at stopping the run too. So he could do both. He's a mixture of both. Run stuffing, but also strong enough to do run stuffing, but also really good in coverage because he's athletic. So getting him back would be huge. And then you also look at Peyton Wilson, the Steelers draft from this offseason. You look at it, and he's someone as well who could do both. And you look at college, he was the best coverage linebacker in entire college. So him coming in, he could really cover. And that's the Pittsburgh Steelers' downfall at the inside linebacker position when you just looked at it over since Ryan Shazier got injured. They just couldn't cover anyone. Inside linebackers for the Steelers, it's just run stuffing, they can't cover. But it seems as though the Pittsburgh Steelers now are getting guys who are better in coverage. Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen, Cole Holcomb a little bit. So that's a really good group, having both Cole Holcomb and Peyton Wilson as a 3rd and 4th inside linebacker. And then you also have Mark Robinson. He's not a coverage guy, but that's another guy, just like Elandon Roberts, someone of a playstyle of Elandon Roberts and Vince Williams, someone who could come in and stop the run, and that's what he does really well. So that's 5 inside linebackers. I don't know if they're going to keep 4 or 5, but that's really 5 inside linebackers who could really help this team at the next level and the overhaul at that group. I've always thought Mark Robinson, if given the chance, could take that leap and be a really good playmaker inside linebacker spot, but it just seems as though he will never end up getting those reps on the Steelers because there's so many guys in front of him. There's 4 other guys in front of him. Even though he could be a good inside linebacker, we just don't know because those reps will never be there unless injuries happen. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, looking at the inside linebacker group from Patrick Queen, Elandon Roberts, Cole Holcomb, Peyton Wilson, Mark Robinson, is a really good group. But I'm talking about the duo of a Vince Williams, Ryan Shazier. They've recreated it with Patrick Queen, and they recreated it with Elandon Roberts, getting 2 guys to really hide each other's downs, but also bring each other up at the same time and do multiple things. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they move into this new season with a dynamic defense and 2 pillars at the inside linebacker group to really help stop offenses from scoring. One last thing, don't take this just from me, but Mark Kaboly, Pittsburgh Steelers insider of The Athletic, shared his thoughts on the impact of these 2 linebackers as well, and he said that it reminds him of Ryan Shazier and Vince Williams. Here's his quote really quickly. Patrick Queen likes to talk trash and speak his mind, no matter who might be offended, and he's pretty smart too. Elandon Roberts might be the most underrated player on the roster. He will blow up opposing running backs, linemen, whoever, and loves doing it. I expect Queen and Roberts to be a huge upgrade from what they've had at the position in the past. They come across to me as a Vince Williams, Ryan Shazier remake, and that duo worked quite well together. So I'll end it on that. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about this topic. Do you believe Patrick Queen and Elandon Roberts could be a Ryan Shazier or Vince Williams duo, or am I and Mark Aboli getting ahead of ourselves? Or do you not even think that Elandon Roberts would be the starter and Cole Holcomb is going to be the starter? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this topic, just in general, and the inside linebacker group. So, with that being said, that's in this video. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. I cover everything Steelers. I have covered the whole offseason, every new player we gotten. Gonna cover training camp here in a few weeks with highlights and analysis. So stay tuned to the channel for that. Preseason, regular season, postseason, Super Bowl, everything. I'm covering it all. So like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.